Our next speaker is Mike Ford, the CFO at GE Hitachi Nuclear Energy, which recently had our region's biggest jobs announcement in many years. Mike is here to talk about the opportunities that led to this announcement that GE is going to add about 500 jobs in the next 5 years. Please join me in welcoming Mike.
Thank you, Rob. And for the next 8 minutes, I'm going to try to be as intriguing as I can be. My wife told me it was going to be an uphill climb. But before I start, I need to thank Rob for the invitation and the announcement I'm going to make. The explanation of the announcement I'm going to make came about because a lot of hard work with New Hanover County, the city of Wilmington, Scott Satterfield, people who have helped us along the way in providing funding and community support for our new investment. So we're going to spend $80 million over the next 5 years and hire 500 people to develop the new generation of nuclear technology. And the accountant is going to explain to you what that means over the next 8 minutes. So get ready. So clean energy, which is solar and hydro, wind, makes up about a small portion of the energy that we use now. But of clean energy, nuclear is about half of it. There is demand for our business. GE, over time, has built about 40 nuclear reactors. They're mostly in the US, they're in Canada, there's some other places, but we have a long history of building nuclear reactors. 60 years of building reactors, 40 years building nuclear fuel, and some of the components that go into the reactors here in Castle Hayne. But we need more. This is the energy demand for the world of the next 30 years. The amount of gigawatts that we'll use will triple in that time. Nuclear is going to play a part of that, especially as the world weans themselves away from fossil fuels and looking for carbon-free sources. Wind and solar play a tremendous part of that, but nuclear is going to be a big bite of that equation. That's where GE comes in. GE, between the nuclear businesses and our gas power, wind and solar businesses, provide about a third of the world's energy, go through GE equipment. So we're going to rely on GE's history, designs and innovations that we've already used in gas, in nuclear, to continue to provide energy to the world, but we're going to invest in solar, wind, and new nuclear. And today I'm going to talk to you about some new nuclear developments. These are the two. On the left is the BWRX 300. That is a new, smaller nuclear plant that we're going to build. It's called a small modular reactor. Small because it's about a third the size of a traditional nuclear reactor. If you've seen the one in Brunswick County, it's about a third the output. Modular because the pieces that we use to build it will be built elsewhere, brought in and constructed on site. X because it's GE's 10th generation of nuclear reactor. We know how to build them. The reason that this reactor is going to go to market so fast is because it's built on technology that we've had in place for 4 decades. And 300 megawatts. How big is a megawatt? 1 megawatt will light up about 300,000 households. This is 300 times that number. The technology on the other side is called a sodium fast reactor, where the first reactor uses boiling water to create steam that turns turbine engines, it creates energy. The reactor on the other side is called a sodium fast reactor. So the nuclear reaction happens in liquid sodium. It's more efficient, it's a little more powerful. We're developing this technology with Bill Gates's nuclear company called TerraPower. Natrium is the joint venture. We're going to build a factory here to make the fuel for that. Now is real exciting, real intriguing when the accountant tells you how a nuclear reactor works. You ready? On the one on the left, inside that vessel there is water. Think about a tea kettle. Uranium is a big clunky molecule, and when it splits in half, it gives off heat. It gives off radiation and some bad things, but it gives off heat. And that heat heats water, which turns turbine engines, which generates electricity. The one on the other side, the sodium fast reactor, the yellow there, that's liquid sodium. It conducts heat a lot faster. It's more efficient, about 80% more efficient than the boiling water reactor on the left. It still heats water, and then the same process happens. Water gets hot, turns to steam, turns to an engine, creates energy. The technology on the left, the boiling water reactor, has already been approved by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. That thing's going to market now. I'll tell you in a few minutes how quickly it's going to go to market. The fuel for the sodium fast reactor is still being developed. That's about 10 years off. The design has to be approved. The types of fuel has to be approved. It'll come to market, but it'll be a little later. So they're similar. This is what we make out in Castle Hayne in our plant. They're pellets, thousands of them, little tiny pellets about the size of the end of your finger that is compressed uranium. It's made like an aspirin tablet. Powder, compressed, baked, and those tablets go into rods and mechanisms, thousands of them, and then those rods are put down in the water that boils. Similar technology for sodium fast reactor, it's a metal instead of a powder, the uranium, but it goes into similar designs. In Wilmington, we already build the fuel bundles on the left. We're going to build the fuel that goes into the bundles on the right going forward. We already know how to produce uranium. We have special licenses and clearances at our plant that allows us to handle it, so we're going to build that here. This one uranium pellet, think about how small that is. One uranium pellet replaces 1 ton of coal in terms of the amount of energy it produces, or 3 barrels of oil, or 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas, and it's carbon-free. Now the exciting part. This is an old nuclear reactor, the one on the left there. That thing you have to build on a hectare of land surrounded by water, big safety zone. They cost, the last one that was built, $6 billion to build. The one on the right is our BWRX 300. It's much smaller. That nuclear plant will fit on the same footprint as this convention center. Instead of being built above the ground, it's built into the ground. So the dirt provides the support structure, so you don't need as much concrete or rebar. It costs about a fourth to build the cost of this one. See all that water that surrounds the blue, the water that's surrounding that reactor over there? Those are all safety features. We don't have that in the new reactor because it's built in the ground. The radiated water inside that reactor can't spill out. So you can build these things in your neighborhoods. The safety fence, the safety perimeter, is 50 feet on the outside of the buildings. That's how safe these things are. So, are they real? These are where we already have orders for them. We broke ground, Ontario Power Generation broke ground 2 weeks ago for their first SMR. They're going to build 4. Saskatchewan Power, which is in the western provinces of Canada, they've announced that they're going to build 4. Tennessee Valley Authority has just applied for licenses to build theirs. We have private investors in Poland who have placed an order, or MOUs, memorandums of understanding, to build 10 of them. And we're in competition now in the UK to win reactors there. We're going to build a slew of these things. They cost about $2 billion a piece. GE is going to provide the engineering support and products, the pieces, the modular pieces that go in those reactors, will all be sourced here in Wilmington. This Natrium facility, the sodium fast reactor, we have a joint venture with TerraPower where we provide engineering design support for the reactor itself. And on the next slide, you're going to see us breaking ground for the plant we're going to build in Wilmington to make the fuel. So it's real. We're real exciting. We are very excited. That's intriguing. These are a bunch of, some of the people are here now. If you recognize them, wave to them. That's us breaking ground for our new plant here. So where do the 500 jobs come from? They're good jobs. Engineers. plant workers making well above minimum wage because they're going to be working in a pretty exciting environment. Thank you for letting me share that with you.